Since the late 1960s, few criminals have stilled as much terror and fascination as a called Zodiac Killer, a murderer who was never caught, yet left his name engraved in American criminal history through cryptic letters, public threats, and a psychological manipulation that went far beyond the physical act he committed. The story of the Zodiac is not just a list of crimes, it is a lesson about collective fear, media sensationalism, institutional shortcoming, and humanity's obsession with enigmas that may never be solved. The first thing to understand is that the Zodiac was not just a killer, he was a communicator, someone who turned violence into narrative. The letters he sent to Bay Area newspaper were far from simple cries for attention. They were carefully crafted to create panic, manipulate public perception, and challenge law enforcement. In a world where crimes often fade into anonymity, he chose to become omnipresent through the written word. Each letter had a purpose: to confuse, to terrify, and disturbingly to entertain. This raises an important reflection. When the media elevates criminals into celebrities, it amplifies the power they hold over society, and the Zodiac knew this very well. His messages were not only threats, they were puzzles. He created complex ciphers that still challenge amateur and professional cryptographers today. These codes were not trivial games. Every symbol, every line, every number had intent, as if he wanted to demonstrate meticulous, almost artistic intelligence. Yet beneath this sophistication lies a clear strategy: manipulate and control through fear and curiosity. Receiving these messages, the public could not discern whether an immediate physical threat loomed or whether they were being presented with an intellectual challenge. The tension created by this ambiguity is rare in the criminal world, and perhaps that is what makes the Zodiac as fascinating as he is terrifying. It is impossible to talk about the Zodiac without considering the historic context. The United States in the late 1960s was a society in turmoil, with urban violence rising and institutional trust being tested. Police technology was limited, and the press chased sensational headlines. In this environment, the Zodiac exploited a vacuum of control and communication. By sending cryptic letters to newspapers, he entered widespread panic, and media coverage guaranteed his action had far greater impact than any single murder could achieve. Here, a clean critique emerges. The pursuit of audience often overrides ethical responsibility, and in cases like the Zodiac, this has real consequences. The killer maintains power long, often committing his crimes. Yet, we must analyze the victims. They are too often overshadowed by the criminal's fame. The allure of the Zodiac as enigma eclipses the family's pain, the psychological trauma entered by communities, and the society impacted the coast. When we discuss code and letters, we must not lose sight of the humanity that was destroyed. Every lie lost, every night spent in fear, was the result of deliberate choice by someone who saw the world as a stage for his own perverse performance. And here lies the darkest reflection. The true power of fear is not in the act itself, but in the perception it implants in the mind of people. Over the years, countless suspects, theories, and hypotheses have emerged. The collective obsession with uncovering the Zodiac's identity highlights another disturbing human trait. Our need to solve mysteries, even when doing so brings us face to face with horror perhaps better left alone. Experts, journalists, and the curious mind have spent decades trying to decode his messages and the math names to crime. Yet the killer remained intangible. This forces reflection. Some crimes enters not just because of what happened, but because of the gaps left behind. What is unresolved becomes a shadow in our culture, which is likely why the Zodiac continues to spark documentaries, books, and debates to this day. The Zodiac case also teaches us about the relationship between power, anonymity, and violence. He chose to act in a way that allowed him to manipulate not just individual victims, but society itself. His signature was fear, and the effectiveness of this strategy forces us to think critically about how we handle threats. The media sensationalizes, the public panics, and the law enforcement, often limited, become part of the criminal's psychological game. It is a vicious cycle that shows murder terror often doesn't require brutal force. It requires intelligence, teaming, and visibility. The Zodiac letters, with their mocking, tempting tone, reveal a fascinating psychological. Police mystery. It is a lesson in psychological ethics and media influence, a warning of how fear can be amplified by words, symbols, and institutional silence. It is also a call to reflect on our relationship with horror. As consumers of these stories, are we merely a spectator, or unwitting accomplices in carefully cultivated fear. Goodbye, see you next crime.